All right, cool. Welcome to the YouTube Sports Network. I am your host. What's going on, everybody? We got a lot to talk about today. The topic I want to discuss in particular is going to be Cody Bellinger. Now, I want to have this is going to be a two-part series, I guess I can say. Sounds a little bit more robust than it is, but this video I'm going to talk about Cody Bellinger and the contract situation. The next video, or maybe not the very next video, but the subsequent video that I'm going to make is going to be about Bellinger and what team I think he's going to go to. A list of teams I think he may go to. That will be most likely released on Monday, I'd say. Tomorrow, I don't think I'm going to be able to get to it tonight. But I just want to get out the whole Bellinger, why and what and what's going on with his contract. So let's begin. So, Cody Bellinger just opted out of his contract with the New York Yankees. In the last offseason, he was traded to the Yankees from the Cubs for pitcher Cody Petit, P-O-T-E-E-T. He didn't have a lot of major league experience. I don't believe he hasn't had much at all in his career. Which at first I was like, kind of scratched my head for a quick second. I was like, you were able to get Cody Bellinger for Cody Petit, a guy that barely scratched the surface and is kind of like I don't want to say middle age, but an older prospect. But remember, that those type of trades is all about the salary dump, right? Or taking on, or not even salary dump, in a more respectful way of saying it, is taking on the salary. Those two, they can mean two different things. Taking on salary and then a salary dump, right? So the Yankees, with the departure of Juan Soto, who went to the Mets, and Kyle Tucker, who became on the Chicago Cubs radar, who was a member at the time with the Houston Astros. I guess they weren't going to work out a deal with him, from what I can remember. So the Cubs were really interested in Tucker. They traded for him, and Bellinger was expendable because they didn't want both. Because they essentially played the same position, outfield. And with the emergence of Pete Crow Armstrong, I guess they had plans for him to play. And they had Seiya Suzuki, who also plays outfield, and Ian Happ, who also plays outfield. Bellinger became expendable. Oh, and also with my guy, Michael Bush, who plays first base for the Cubs. That's my guy. Bellinger was squeezed out. So, the Yankees had that need. The Cubs had their eyes on Tucker, so Bellinger was in a spot where he was like, okay, what am I doing? Where are we going? What's happening? So the Yankees traded for him, and they got him. So prior to him getting traded, or actually before the 2024 season, after the 2023 season, he signed a 3-year, $80 million contract with the Cubs. This is Bellinger. But prior to that, he signed a 1-year, show me, prove it to me, get it right type of season, or get it right type of deal with the Cubs for the 2023 season. So it was a 1-year, $17.5 million deal. This was after the Dodgers non-tendered him a contract. They non-tendered him. So they didn't offer him a contract, even though they had the exclusive rights to negotiate a deal with him. That just means that he wasn't an unrestricted free agent at the time. But once they non-tendered him, he became available, and he essentially became an unrestricted free agent. A restricted free agent is along the lines of an organization having more ownership. I say these a lot because, these are power words. Owner, they own me. They belong to me. They got to be careful, but they're an asset. We speak about people as if they're just like chess pieces and they're not human, but we throw it around a lot. So let's give them some human. Let's always remember these people are human, right? At least the majority of them that we know of. So they non-tendered him. The Dodgers did for Bellinger, meaning he was available for any team that wanted to sign him. Now, at that time, he signed for $17.5 million. This was after he had just got a 1-year, $17 million deal with the Dodgers in 2020 to play for the 2022 season. In that season, he batted .210. He had 19 homers and 68 RBIs, and that was in 144 games. So Bellinger, when he started off in 2017 as a rookie and winning Rookie of the Year, right? He came up and it became Rookie of the Year. He had 39 homers, 97 RBIs. He batted .267 in 112 games. He was Rookie of the Year. The very next season, he had another good season. Played the full season and 25 homers, 76 RBIs, .260 batting average. Okay, struck out 151 times. His rookie year, struck out 146. I mentioned that because that's going to come into play a little bit later in his career. So what I'm really trying to establish right now is, how did Bellinger get from the Dodgers to the Cubs to the Yankees and now where he's at? Maybe I might be going all over the place, but just follow me, right? So, and then when he, in his third year in the majors in 2019, Bellinger had a miraculous season, a spectacular season, a wonderful season, an amazing season. And he hit 47 homers. He drove in 115 runs. He batted .305. He had 95 walks, 108 strikeouts, and he played 156 games, and he won the Gold Glove. So within 3 years in the league, he already won MVP. That is amazing. That's something I gotta look into it, but to win the league MVP within the first 3 years in the league with you playing shows that obviously you're something special, right? Something special. Now, okay, hurry up and pass. Hurry up and pass. What is that? A motorcycle? So, forgive me, I have a thing with the motorcycles at times, you know. It's alright, they're free and they're easy, it's about freedom. Alright, so, on those 3 years, this is when I should edit it and be like, come back and talk about it, but I gotta get on the edit stuff. So within those 3 years, he was making less than $1 million. Rookie of the year, less than $1 million. Second year, less than $1 million. Third year, as MVP, less than $1 million. Obviously, he got paid before the money, or that contract was already issued before the MVP season. So, and as I go here, Francisco Lindor, Aaron Judge, and countless other people who had great seasons at such a young age, a lot of them played for under $1 million. It's like 585, 765, 985, you know? Because when you're young, the first couple years into the league, the team basically dictates how much money you can make, right? And you're going to be playing for, in athletic terms, for peanuts. In the regular world, professional world, $585,000, you're doing just all right. You're doing quite all right. But in the baseball world, those are, especially with all the money that's being doled out, that's the reality of young players when they first get into the league. But now you're seeing a lot of teams that are bypassing, they're actually rewarding their players earlier in their contracts. This is a slick move they make. This is actually advantageous on their part. They take advantage of these young guys in a sense, right? And it's catchy. It's a weird spot to be, but there's risk, there's reward, there's pros, there's cons, you know. And so what I'm going to say is this: Roman Anthony, Corbin Carroll, Jackson Chourio, Christian Campbell, and a few other guys. There's plenty of them. They all essentially signed $1 million contracts before they start hitting year 2, 3, 4, 5. Before they start going to arbitration every year to dictate what their salary is going to be. You know, I think Mike Trout got rewarded the biggest arbitration deal in the history of baseball. I wish I could remember off the top what it was. It might have been 30 million, might have been 20 million. Could have been 10. I forget exactly. It's bad that I don't have the number, but it just hit me off the top of my head now. Pretty sure it was like 30 million, where he got awarded the highest yearly salary through arbitration. So that's like revisiting the negotiating table, arbitration, and one side presents their case to the other, what they think they should be making. They say it can be ruthless and it can be like really revealing, and you know, it's a tough sit down to be face to face, and or almost like going against your organization to determine what your value is. So that can get kind of ruthless. Players in the past have talked about how that can be. I think it might have been Brandon Woodruff or Corbin Burns. It might have been Woodruff, if I'm not mistaken. I should get that on a shirt, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm bringing up all this to bring light to what's going on. So after that MVP season, his salary went from $605,000. Right now we're in arbitration. This is Bellinger. $11.5 million he's going to be playing for in 2020. That season, the shortened season, he batted .239, 12 homers, 30 RBIs, 30 walks, 42 strikeouts. Okay. So now, all right, shortened season. These guys take a little bit to get going, right? Mechanically, mentally, physically, so it takes a little bit of a slow start. So we'll go, okay, Bellinger, no problem. The next year, even after that, short season and not amazing numbers, he gets a $16 million contract. $16.1 million for 1 year arbitration. He hits 10 homers, 36 RBIs. He bats .165, 31 walks, 94 strikeouts in 95 games. So now we're like, oh crap, what's going on with Bellinger? This guy was just MVP a couple of years ago. Okay, shortened season. All right, Dodgers won the World Series. Get it. All right, but that's kind of an eyebrow raiser. The next season, if he would have had a great season, I'm sure arbitration he would have got more. He would have got more money, or maybe he would have signed a longer term deal. Arbitration again, 1 year, 17. So they gave him $900,000 raise. What does he do that year, 2022? 19 homers, 68 RBIs, .210 batting average, 38 walks, 150 strikeouts in 144 games. Now you're like, oh shit, 2 years in a row now. This he just went from 165 batting average, now it's .210. Okay, a little bit better, but .210 is still not acceptable, really. And scratches your head, he just was MVP not too long ago. This guy was a hitter, or is a hitter. He was really a shell of himself. And if you're watching Dodgers baseball at the time and you're seeing Bellinger, you're like, damn, I feel bad for this dude. You could tell he was going through it. Clearly, you don't have to see people go through it. Who cares if millionaires? They're still trying to do a job. So I was like, you kind of felt for the kid. You felt for the guy. So after that, the Dodgers, they non-tendered him a contract. Go back to what I was saying. They made him they didn't even want to go to the arbitration. They just non-tendered him. They said, we're not going to, sorry, Bellinger, you can walk, man. You can take a walk, basically. So he became an unrestricted free agent. So then the Cubs, or anybody could have had him, but the Cubs came and said, all right, we're going to give you a 1 year, and this happens a lot, 1 year prove it deal. Prove it. If you do well, it works for us. We're more competitive. If you do well for yourself, you earn a bigger contract. Want to get a shot? Sure. $17 million. He's 17.5. So he got a $500,000 raise on top of from the previous year. So he's at 17.5. What does he do with the Cubs in the first year? 26 homers, 97 RBIs, 307 batting average, 40 walks, 87 strikeouts in 130 games. Did he do a good job? Did he earn his money? And then some, right? And he finished in top 10 in MVP. Oh, by the way, yeah. So that 1 year deal certainly paid off, and now it's okay. Bellinger's kind of got a little leverage now. What are we gonna do? What's Bellinger gonna do? So the Cubs offer him a deal again. They go back to the table. Now we're not talking arbitration. Now we're talking long term. Let's go long term, right? They're not go to 1 year, whatever. And I think at that point there was no arbitration. I think he was an unrestricted free agent because I believe he got 6 years of service time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pretty sure that would have been a 6th, 7th year. Regardless, at that point, unrestricted free agency. What does he do? He signs a 3-year, $80 million contract and he re-signs with the Cubs. Here's the thing about that contract. Year 1, this is 2024, 2025, 2026. That's for the 3 years. Year 1 is $27.5 million. Year 2 is $27.5 million. Year 3 is $25 million. You see this with contracts. Opt-outs, mutual options, vesting options, player options, team options, right? There's a lot of things that go on with these contracts, and they're getting kind of tricky with these things now. They're getting a little bit more creative. So that deal was 27.5 first year, no doubt. But the second and third year were considered or were registered as player options. Okay. So that means that after the season, Bellinger gets to decide if he wants to come back and play at that contract value, at that contract amount, right? So then, in 2020, this is 2024 now. This is his second year with the Cubs, right? After he earned that bigger contract. He bats 18. He hits 18 homers, 78 RBIs. He bats 266, 45 walks, 89 strikeouts, and 130 games. Same amount of games played. Okay, increases walks. He increases walks. He struck out 2 more times. Most important though, he struck out less than 100 times for the second year in a row. This is a guy who 2 years ago struck out 150 times. In his first 3 years, he struck out 146, 151, 108. Right? So this is a guy who's significantly cut down the strikeouts. He hit the same batting averages within his first 2 years. Okay, it's 267, 260. But what I'm getting at is he had a little bit of a down season. But he's, as far as counting stats, home runs, RBIs, right? But it was not the same standard that he had previously. So now here comes year 2 and year 3, 2025 and 2026. But going into it, like I was saying, Kyle Tucker is becoming available in Houston Astros. Cubs want to make a big splash. They're interested in getting Tucker. They get Tucker. Soto has to decide between the Yankees and Mets, basically. Where does he go? He signs with the Mets. The Yankees need somebody. They want somebody. His father used to play for the Yankees. They can use some help at first base. They can use help in the outfield. He can play all 3 positions. That's the versatility. How many first base outfielders you know who could play like him? Not many. And he has a cannon of an arm. So the Yankees traded for him, and then he obviously takes that. That's his deal. 27.5. He opts in. He's going to play on that deal. What does he do? 29 homers, 98 RBIs, 272 batting average, 57 walks, 90 strikeouts, and 152 games. A full season, essentially. Again, less than 100 strikeouts. The guy, 3 years in a row, is really now does not strike out at a high rate. And he's driving in 98 runs. That's 95 plus RBIs in the last 2 out of 3 years. That's 25 plus homers 2 out of the last 3 years. 272, that's higher. That's 6 points higher than the previous year. 57 walks. That's the most walks he's had since his MVP season, 2019. So Bellinger is getting pretty steady now, right? So what's his 3rd year? $25 million. You think he's going to opt into that $25 million contract and take less money than he just did after he just proved that he deserves a longer term deal? Something more guaranteed, something where he can, dictate or essentially pick and choose how much money he wants to make? Or have a little bit more leverage? So that's why he opted out of the contract. And mind you, yes, it's hard to replace Juan Soto. Juan Soto last year batted, here's the number. And runners in score, Juan Soto, amazing RBIs, walks, amazing on-base percentage, amazing OPS, slugging, slugging percentage plus on-base percentage combined. You add that as your OPS. Juan Soto and all the amazing players are OPS kings, right? Juan Soto last year with the Yankees batted .345 with runners in scoring position. This year, Bellinger for the Yankees batted .348 with runners in scoring position, and he crushed lefties. So right then and there, you essentially got the same amount of production. Yes, Soto hit 40 home runs and drove in over 100. Okay, that's more than Bellinger did, sure. But Bellinger also had elite defense this year. He had 10 runs above average, apparently. I think that was a stat. What's your metric to determine your defensive value? So he could win Gold Glove this year. Again, 2nd time in his career. So there's value. What I'm trying to say is there's value. So yes, Bellinger is not Soto, and Soto had an amazing home run. He's Mr. Clutch. He helped the Nationals win the World Series when he crushed the Astros in 2019. He had a monumental home run against Gavin Williams. Was it Gavin Williams? Or was it big guy? For the Indians, for the Guardians. What the hell's his name? I forget the big dude. Not Jacob Junis. Jesus, I can't remember. Anyway, damn, I'm seeing it. 33, big husky dude. He crushed a home run. It was a great at-bat. He crushed a home run. Very majestic home run. Yankees win that series. He comes up clutch. That's in his DNA, right? Well, Soto I'm talking about. So Bellinger puts together an amazing season, hits with runners on in scoring position, and in his career, he's a 281 hitter with runners in scoring position. Juan Soto in his career is 287. Again, this is not about comparing those two. I'm just giving you an example or bringing to light that Bellinger is also a very good player. He's not the elite. Soto was in an elite class, but Bellinger is becoming or is showing that he's in a very good class. So, all right, that's what I'm getting at. So, with that being said, that is the reason why that Bellinger is decided to opt out of his contract with the Yankees. Oh, and by the way, I think that's why I had that pause. Juan Soto this year batted .238 with the Mets with runners in scoring position. He still had 40 home runs and 100 RBIs. Over 100 RBIs for 3 straight seasons. Over 40 home runs for the second year in a row. Not third, right? Second year in a row. But that's my guy, Soto, I'm just saying. Can you imagine if you just hit those? His numbers would have been, what, 50 and 130? But let's go back to Bellinger. That's what this paper's about. That's what this video is about. So that's exactly why, and I'm going to get to other things. I'm going to get to exactly where he's going to go, where I think he's going to go, Bellinger. But that's why Bellinger decided to opt out of his contract, because he has gained some ground. He's gained a lot of ground in his value, and he believes, and I believe, and a lot of people believe, that it's time that he solidifies himself. When I think, it's going to be no less than 5 years. A 5-year deal, I think, is where it begins. And I think at $30 million where it's going to start, or at least end. I think he's going to get to at least 30. So 5 for 150, I would not be surprised if he signs. 5 for 150 is the contract I'm throwing out, because I don't think if I was his agent, I ain't taking no less than 5 years. And he's proven that he's worth, defensively and offensively, worth $30 million. Because if there's guys like, nothing against Harper, first of all, Harper's amazing if you look at his resume. He already has 1,000 RBIs. He's got 300 and something, mid 300 home runs. And he's only going to tack it on because he's 32 years old around that time. But what I'm saying is Bellinger earned himself, I believe, if I was his agent, a 5-year deal in the range of $30 million, and that's where we're going to go. The next video that I'm going to be talking about Bellinger will be where I think he's going to sign, and I got some pretty good teams that I think he's going to sign with. So that's the information. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, share it, comment on it, do whatever it is. But like I always say, most importantly, watch it. Take care.